It has been described as one of Iran's major gas deals in years. The French energy giant Total has signed a multi-billion-dollar gas deal with Iran. Based on the deal, Total is set to invest an initial $1 billion in the development of Phase 11 of South Pars gas field.
That the Europeans are entering the Iranian market, and as I said previously, is if you look at the Airbus deal or the Boeing deal, let's look at the Airbus deal. It's a trade deal, but companies like Total and other companies coming to Iran from Europe is a direct sign of direct investment in Iran.
Total leads a consortium with Chinese and Iranian firms. This is the first such investment by a European firm in Iran in more than a decade. The 20-year deal, which would eventually see the consortium invest $4.8 billion into the project, has been described as a vote of confidence in the Islamic Republic since the sanctions were lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal with Tehran.
And what the Europeans are number one concerned about is their own economy and improvement of their own economy.
Just after the deal with Total was announced, news emerged that an Indian consortium is to invest in another gas field in Iran. India's Oil and Natural Gas Corporation has offered to invest as much as $11 billion in Farzad B field.
And today's world, such economic improvement will really be fulfilled in Asia, and Iran is a pathway to get to the Asia market for the Europe.
The Indian consortium is seeking to develop the field and LNG export facilities. Iran is also in talks with Russia's Gazprom over the Farzad field. Clearly, Iranians' lucrative oil and gas business is back on track after the lifting of sanctions, and many foreign companies are waiting to resume their business deals with Iran.
So Europe's interest, whenever it actually is mutually exclusive with the United States, I believe they act in their own interest. And we are seeing it today, in particular with Iran.
Since the nuclear deal between Iran and the P5+1 group of countries was signed in 2015, the United States has spared no effort to undermine the deal.
Iran's role as a strategic role, geopolitical role, and geoeconomic role is vitally important for the growth of the 21st century, which is, in my opinion, is really Asia century altogether.
The government of former U.S. President Barack Obama acted against Iran by signing 10-year renewal of the Iran Sanctions Act. It also imposed sanctions on Iran over flimsy excuses like alleged violation of human rights, not to mention Tehran's missile program. The same trend has continued under the administration of Donald Trump. The hawks in the White House, together with the warmongering politicians in Congress, have ratcheted up pressure on Tehran. Back in June, U.S. senators voted in favor of a bill that would impose fresh sanctions on Iran over its ballistic missile program and its alleged support for terrorism.
But what's important here, if you look at the new global order, in particular new global economic order, it's happening in Eurasia, meaning Europe and Asia. And Iran is a vital part of that Eurasian connectivity.
And yet, despite all the tough rhetoric by the U.S., Iran has managed to clinch a major deal with a big oil company. It is a slap in the face of the U.S., whose intentions are to isolate Iran economically.